Bum, 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 bum.
He's really going for the MCU intro.
Bum, 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 bum. No, I can't. It's gonna fail.
Hindi niya binuo. Okay, never mind then.
We're still putting that in the episode, though. It's an appropriate opener.
Yeah, you could.
It is. You want to try it one more time?
It is. It is.
Mamili ka. You either do that one or you do the page flipping one. What was that?
Page flipping one. It sounded
Like a grasshopper. The fuck?
That is not what pages sound like.
Wait. There,
oh, wow.
there.
He has props.
All
There.
right. Okay.
There.
For all you who can't see it, Anjo is using his BTS notebook.
It's not mine. It's my wife's. I'm on
Sure.
her workspace.
Whatever. He's using his BTS notebook to give you the page flipping sound.
So
Not
what?
judging. I would be the
So
last
what?
person to judge.
I am not judging. I'm just sharing it with our audience.
Yes.
So what? So what? It's BTS. It's the
I'm-
hottest thing right now.
I'm proud of you, TBH.
Mhm.
Diba?
You
Diba?
be you, Anjo. You be you.
No judgment right there.
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
You want to do your big orchestral intro again?
No, I think it's gonna fail. Bum 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 ba-da-dum.
God damn, he tried it anyway.
Ah. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Sub-Auteurs. I'm Anjo.
I'm MJ.
I'm Misha.
Yay! Woo! No hiccups back then. No, well coordinated.
Yes.
For a change.
Yeah, that's,
Woo.
that's an achievement.
We're professionals.
Super
you know-
professionals.
And anyway, if we're not happy with the way things are, we can always, put up a gigantic dome and rewrite history, or so they say.
Or, if a dome doesn't work, we can make it a hexagon.
Oh! Okay, so for all those listening out there, for all our listeners, I guess you guys pretty much know that we're going to be talking about the MCU's or Marvel Studios' first foray into a TV show called WandaVision. It just finished a couple of weeks ago. So what are your thoughts, guys?
Well, to be fair, it's not really their first attempt. It's more like the first attempt where they're actually the ones making it. Because Netflix had like 13 whole seasons of different shows set in the MCU that they just can't really acknowledge at this point. But I really hope those characters come back at some stage.
Mhm.
Yes. Netflix, not the ABC production.
To be fair, ABC also produced those for Netflix.
What? It's so far.
Disney owned ABC. They still do.
Disney
That's-
owns everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Disney is the media mogul.
Yeah.
Well,
but
it may not be a film per se. We usually talk about films, but it still fits somewhere between the MCU cinematic universe. So I guess we can still count it in as something that's part of a big picture that the Marvel people are planning for all of us. So we can still consider it as one of their cinematic things. Content.
Absolutely. Because
Output.
also
Content.
because this is the first time that we're seeing a Marvel TV show where the superheroes from the movies actually appear. Because like on TV shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we only had little side characters like Nick Fury or Maria Hill show up. Here, we have two full-blown superheroes in the form of Paul Bettany's Vision and, of course, the real star of the show, Wanda Maximoff, played by Elizabeth Olsen.
I love her so much.
She's amazing.
And
I
they're not
have a huge
they're not
crush
side
on her
characters.
now.
They're not side characters.
It's inevitable. You're just like, you really have to crush on her because
Just-
she's so adorable.
Just now?
And
Her
complex.
face scrunching.
I
She's
know.
so cute.
You see that meme
She's so
with
cute.
her scrunching her nose? It's so adorable.
Mhm. And I'm glad because they really did not get much character development in the Avengers movies, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like, 'cause, in the, but like what you said earlier, the Elizabeth Olsen and the Vision, Wanda Maximoff and the Vision were kind of side characters in the Avengers movies or the MCU movies per se. But here, it's the spotlight's totally on them, and mostly it's on Wanda.
And
I
it's
think-
a beautiful story to tell, really.
Yes, I think as far as everything is concerned, I think this whole series was more of a character study for Wanda Maximoff herself.
Mhm.
And going into it, there was a lot of questions of what kind of story the show would be telling because, there were a couple of things that happened over the last couple of years leading up to this point. Like, for example, Vision died in Infinity War. And yet here he is in the lead of a TV show. I can do spoilers for a 3-year-old movie. I can do spoilers for a 3-year-old movie.
If we're talking about WandaVision anyway, we're pretty sure that you should be pretty sure. If you're listening to this, you should know the events prior to this if you're interested in listening to this.
What's the snap? I'm just kidding.
God.
No,
Get out.
Anjo. No.
I mean, seriously, it's me. You expect me not to know these things?
Sometimes, maybe. I don't
know. I've honestly lost count of the times I've seen Endgame. Okay.
Okay, so maybe we can start by going to the beginning. Like, it was very polarizing for a lot of people that it just started off as a 20, am I correct? 20 sitcom?
50s.
50s.
Sorry,
50s.
50s. I'm not very good at timelines. Okay, it started off as a 50s sitcom, which confused a lot of people. Like, why is it black and white? Why are they talking funny? Why are they wearing those things? Why are they in the suburbs? Why is Vision alive?
Yeah,
it's one of those things that I guess as a fan I'd appreciate because the show or the showrunners and the director they weren't afraid, or Marvel, they weren't afraid to experiment. They weren't afraid of not spoon feeding their audience this time around.
Well, to be fair, I think Disney has all the money in the world at this point, so they can pretty much do whatever they want. And I think that the producer, Kevin Feige, of the overall MCU has essentially won our trust over, like, what is it, 23 movies at this point of interlocking storylines, of characters growing, changing, dying in some cases. So I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt when this thing started, like, in black and white.
Yep.
And it's what turned some people off, to be honest.
They're lost.
It's what hooked me in. It got me interested. Like, why is it like this? What's happening in this universe? And these are the perfect characters to be experimenting with that kind of, TV sitcom mindfuck kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Because you can't imagine it with any other characters because you do know the powers of Wanda. Maybe Doctor Strange, but he's got a different vibe. You know what I mean?
I can't picture Benedict Cumberbatch in a 50s sitcom.
I could!
Of course you would.
Again, priorities. No, but
I totally could. I can imagine him doing anything.
Fine.
I love Benedict Cabbage Patch.
But I think something I really appreciated a lot was so much effort was put into recreating the specific time period. Because if you guys have seen the show, you know that for the first few episodes, each episode would take place in a different era, and the production design would reflect the sitcoms of that era. And they put a lot of effort into recreating the look and feel of these old shows.
Do you know how far they went? How far they went just to go through the lengths of maintaining authenticity of the eras of these sitcoms was that they actually hired dialect coaches to help the performers with their accents and their dialects, with the diction of how these actors perform in those given eras of TV, like for the 50s. And if you notice, like how they would talk and the language they would use
darling.
In the first
dinner?
first four episodes, it would
first
fit.
Three?
First three.
First three episodes.
And speaking of the lengths that they went to, I since the first one takes place in the 50s, and it owes a lot to shows like Bewitched and
the Dick Van Dyke
show. They actually talked to Dick Van Dyke to get his input on, what was it like making the show? What were you guys thinking? You were coming up with the stories. And something he told them was, you can only do things that you would imagine happening in real life. Once you have that framework, that's where you can put the gags in. Everything else will follow. You can be as ridiculous as you want, as long as the plot is something that could happen in real life.
Oh, that's a good tip.
That's an interesting input.
Yeah, it is.
And I also love how even if it's it's not your typical Marvel cinematography script editing for the first 3 episodes. You know that there is still something underlying there. It didn't totally break away from the style because you know it's in a different presentation, but you know something's going on underneath. They have these little snippets in the episodes where, it's going back to like the mysterious Wanda we know, or like it's going to go back to their powers or whatnot. So it keeps you hooked because they give you these little teasers on how things are in reality.
Yes. I like the fact that as you go along with the series, once they start revealing what's happening in the real world, they actually play around with the aspect ratio of the imagery.
Oh yeah, they did.
So that was really fun. That was fantastic because if you look at how it was shot, everything was shot. It looked like they were really shooting from the 50s or the 60s or the given era of the sitcom. And if it flips to the quote unquote real world, then the aspect ratio changes. Everything, the textures, the colors, everything changes. So I like that little detail that the producers ran with. So it just gave so much character to the series itself. You know.
I think also something that was really cool about it was that something that MJ said just now was how we just accept that because these are characters that we're more or less familiar with at this point, we are more willing to accept them in this strange new context. And that's something I think that owes to the fact that you think about it, we've been seeing the Avengers like for what, 10 years now? More than 10 years?
Yep.
And, it's interesting to see them presented in different ways, especially in one as messed up as this. Because
I know, right?
Because
it's so messed up. It starts off all light and funny, but it is messed
There's
up.
just so much depth to it, especially to the character of Wanda Maximoff. And you realize that there's so much trauma that the character has experienced, which was perfect. We'll get to that later, but like it really paints a picture of what the character's been through. It sets the tone for her mindset, or it's obviously going to be a setup for something, something that they're planning for in the next Doctor Strange movie.
Absolutely.
It gives the audience an idea of what it's like being in the headspace of Wanda Maximoff, which is fantastic.
When the show starts, so we're in a 50s sitcom. They're a nice, happily married couple. They're introduced in one of those old-timey jingle-like intros that tells you everything you need to know about the plot. And, they're just going about their everyday lives. They're like a regular suburban couple who just happen to have superpowers, and they don't even question it when it starts. And as we go along, the first 3 episodes, we start in the 50s with shows like, Bewitched, I Love Lucy, that kind of thing. It moves on later on to the Brady Bunch. And the clothes, the hairstyling, the dialogue, everything changes to match the time period. And while you're watching it, you have no idea what the context is. You have no idea why this is happening. And I enjoyed it. There are people who complained about the quote-unquote slow burn. But you know what?
Sorry, slow burn?
Yeah, that's...
What?
I saw a lot of people complaining. They're like, I had trouble
fair,
with the slow burn, but I'm glad I stuck with it. I'm like, oh my God.
To be fair, there were
slow
a lot.
burn?
Yes.
Those 3 episodes were so light and so easy to watch. Like all the traumatic things, all the problematic things start happening in the 4th or 5th episode, Like,
and also, guys, are we really just not are we just really not used to watching shows on a weekly basis anymore?
Everybody's used to binging now, I guess. But I appreciated that.
No, but I saw somebody write a think piece that's I don't remember
A
think piece, right? And they said like
intellectual.
It's not the show's fault. People have just forgotten how to watch TV. I don't think that's it, because I saw another one that said that for some series you come to expect it, like Star Wars, right? People had to wait like 2 whole years to find out whether or not Vader was telling the truth after the end of The Empire Strikes Back. They had to wait 2 years to find out the resolution. So when The Mandalorian started happening every week, nobody questioned that you'd have to wait to get your answers.
That's true.
Whereas with Marvel, we got used to it like every 2-3 months, there'd be another one. The longest wait we had was 1 year between Infinity War and Endgame. But now I saw an article the other day, like 2 days ago. It has literally been 616 days since the last Marvel movie.
Wow, specific.
I think
Love it.
it's because of it was because of the pandemic.
So yeah, people are starved for entertainment, and I guess they're not used to having to wait for anything anymore because everything's now on demand, everything's streaming and all that.
Instant gratification.
I guess.
Maybe.
But I enjoyed I don't want to say slow burn because it really wasn't a slow burn, guys.
It really wasn't a slow burn for me either.
Yeah,
Well, for
I
me
think-
personally, I
No.
was hooked from
They're just
then
impatient.
Yeah,
would-
I honestly don't understand people who couldn't stand getting through the first episode and dropping the series instantly. You didn't even give it a chance.
There were so many of those. I
Yeah,
feel like there
a
are
lot.
lots of shows that are way slower.
on.
And this wasn't even slow.
This was very different. I guess they were just like probably a little
Yes.
quote unquote culture shocked by how it's not your usual Marvel.
Marvel movie, yeah.
But honestly,
think so.
that's what hooked me because it was so
Agreed.
different.
Yeah.
And it was light, it was funny.
It was
they were
charming.
so charming.
Yeah.
They're dropping jokes and like being all smiley as opposed to their usual
but
states.
My
was
mom was
very
so
refreshing.
happy. She's like, "Oh, this is my childhood."
Oh, cute.
No, but it was. I liked how each of the earlier episodes reflected the time era. I mean, the era of television at some point.
Mhm.
You know, it was pretty much an homage to the industry
Yeah.
in itself.
Yeah.
That's what I appreciated.
And it
among
became-
other things.
And it became fun trying to guess what shows they'd homage the next week. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that between that and trying to figure out what the hell was going on, you know, it was a great, and this is an old expression, it was a great water cooler show. One of those shows you just talk about the next day with your friends, or in this case, you know, even while it's happening, you're watching it, you're going on social media trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that is something that people thought would die after Game of Thrones.
Nope.
But, you know, The Mandalorian has showed that people are still willing to invest their time and emotion, you know, if there's a good story to be told, if there's a good story happening in front of them. And I think that's what happened here. It's just that a lot of people wanted it to happen faster.
Yeah. No, but what I liked about this, among many other things that I liked the most about this output from the Marvel studio, the MCU, from the MCU, is that, you know, this was something that required more thinking and more guesswork than their usual movie. I like the fact that every week we had something to talk about, to discuss, or to theorize.
Yes.
Because
And
it's very. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
I mean, because it's never. I mean, we always do talk about things waiting between one Marvel movie to the next, but you know, to do it on a weekly basis and on this, you know, like to some extent a bigger scale, because you know it's clearly setting something up. It was really fun, like especially when I would talk to friends about it. I would be messaging with friends, like different people, messaging like, "Oh, did you catch the latest episode? Watch it now so we can talk about it. What do you think happened to blah 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 when this happened, or what do you think is going on as this is happening?" Right? So that's something that you know, like, and I like the fact that it was something that wasn't afraid to experiment.
Absolutely. It was just, it
So-
was different.
Mm-hmm.
Good, different, in my opinion.
Yes.
Absolutely good, different. And I think also that addresses a lot of the criticism of some people who thinks that one Marvel movie looks exactly the same as the next Marvel movie. In this case, they were trying something different. And to their credit, I honestly think they pulled it off.
Yes.
But we'll get to that
100%.
later on. So the first 3 episodes take place in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. Let's get to episode 4. What did you guys think when we finally got a bigger understanding of what was going on?
Darcy's back!
I love Darcy.
Oh, you mean the
Besides
blip?
that, I mean, it's a great full big pic. It's like a zooming out of what's happening. Like basically, whatever was happening was zoomed into Wanda's head or whatever reality she was creating. But then you see the consequences of it in real life. This is strange for this town. Does this town exist or does it not? You know, that kind of mindfuck thing. And it just grounds everything.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the timing of that episode was perfect. Like, you know, you release it after 3 episodes, and then in each and every episode, there would be clues that would be dropped about what's going on or what could be happening. So at the end of the 3rd episode, you're like, what is happening? we've had so much clues, but we couldn't really, tie it together. And then you see episode 4, it's like, oh my God. Now I'm stuck. I have to find out what's happening for sure.
Yep.
So like episode 3 was, I think it was the 80s one. And you were expecting the 90s to show up next, but instead they take us out into the real world where we reunite with a couple of fun side characters who already appeared previously in the MCU in the form of Randall Park's Agent Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man. And
Randall Park.
and Kat Dennings as Darcy from Thor and Thor the Dark World. Except now she's a doctor and she's an astrophysicist, it seems. She's no longer a political science major.
But I love the fact I love Darcy the minute she said meh meh. The minute she referred to Mjolnir as meh meh.
I love Kat Dennings, even if she's always only just playing Kat Dennings.
Well, that is true.
Just because Kat Dennings is so charming that she can play Kat Dennings and get away with it all the time.
She's my favorite broke girl.
Well, there are only 2 of them, so...
Yeah, the other one's kind of a... Yeah, she's just there.
Great legs, though.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Beth Burrs.
Beth Burrs has her great legs. I agree.
Okay, going back to the characters that we've seen previously, we also kind of see a new one. Not really new one, but you see her all grown up. Monica Rambeau. Who you've seen as a little girl in Captain Marvel. She's all grown up now. She's also a pilot. She's achieving
She's a
her own
secret
thing.
agent type.
Yep.
I'm so crushing on Tiona Paris.
I even like the way that they introduced her coming back. Because like, you remember the beginning of Spider-Man Far From Home where they showed everybody coming back in the blip. They showed, it was basically a gag, how everybody came back to life after Thanos snapped everybody away.
Oh, yeah.
But here, we see the sheer fucking body horror of it all, of everybody coming back at the same time and, realizing time has passed, relatives have died, people have moved on. Can you imagine what it'd be like to be gone for 5 years and then you come back and you have no idea what's happening?
No, especially for the character of Monica Rambeau, where she finds out that her mom had just passed away, but in her head, she was waiting for her mom to recover from a round of chemo.
That's right. That was awful.
That was
sad.
I think that's a tough pill to swallow. Like when I saw that, I was like, oh my God.
And that scene where it was just all so chaotic and in the hospital, she didn't know what was happening. And to find out at that moment that her mom's has been dead, it's like, what? Must have been such a terrible, traumatic experience for her too.
For sure.
But can you imagine, like, what would be the actual implications of the snap? Okay, like after the snap, between the snap and the blip, there's like 5 years. You don't know these people are coming back to life. You think everyone's dead.
Exactly.
It's funny how like these are such big events, but we call them the snap and the blip. But they're just like so heavy.
That is true.
People turned into ash.
Died. They fucking died.
We call it the snap and the blip. Anyway,
that is true.
It was inevitable.
But like seriously, imagine like you people who lost their spouse or whatever. They probably moved on. They have time to get remarried or whatever in 5 years. What do you do when the other guy comes back? How do you divide the property? Why am I concerned about the legal ramifications? But I'm serious. Like, what do you do?
You're being practical. You're being realistic about it. So
that's true, though. There are going to be like legal problems with this.
Yeah, like what happens to the insurance then? Like, do you give back the insurance policy if you die? Right?
What about the people who were like flying airplanes at the time? Do they reappear
up
in the sky?
I thought about that.
Planes crashed 5 years ago.
Oh shit!
I'm just saying.
But I thought about that. Like, if a pilot blips out and then he's a pilot of a 747 vessel, then that entire thing's going down.
That is true. Like so at the end of Infinity War, planes were crashing, helicopters were exploding.
Oh shit! Right? So what if like a pilot disappeared in the snap and then the plane crashes? Do the people that die in the crash come back after the snap? Because they technically didn't die from the snap.
No, they don't.
No, they stay dead.
That was a far thought.
That's why Loki is still dead. That's why they had to cheat and give us an alternate Loki.
That's why the Black Widow is still dead.
Oh, too soon.
It's always gonna be too soon for Black Widow.
Yeah.
My God, so sad.
Oh God. But I think something that was cool about seeing Agent Wu and Darcy again was seeing how their characters grew. Like, Darcy, she obviously changed her major from political science to astrophysics, but I guess meeting a Norse god will do that to you. And
Also, I
Jimmy
like that-
Woo, he now, he knows the finer points of the card tricks that Ant-Man was doing back in the day.
Flourish.
Flourish.
I love that.
And I like that how these two, much like Wanda and Vision, they're able to have more character development in the space of a few episodes than we ever saw them in their own movies.
Yep,
Mhm. Yes.
exactly.
These are where the side characters actually shine.
True. And and these are just also such lovable actors, at least for Kat Dennings and Randall Park.
Mm-hmm.
Just like seeing them in general is just such a delight.
Yes.
I saw some people petitioning, like, give these two their own show, make it like an
Yes.
X-Files kind of thing where they go around the world
Yeah, I saw that. I saw an
investigating
article.
weird things in the
I
MCU.
would be so
I'm
game for
down.
that. I would be
I
so
would
game for
absolutely
that.
watch that.
I would too. I like the banter that they had. I love the chemistry that Kat Dennings and Randall Park had, like especially the banter that they would have over the course of episodes. What 3 to 6?
I
They were
think it's
mostly
like
together.
4 onwards, but
Four onwards.
good stuff though.
Mhm.
And then something that I appreciated was that even they were able to watch what was going on inside Wanda's little bubble.
I know.
In the form of a TV broadcast. So essentially, like, they were us. They became viewers of WandaVision, the same as us. And even they wanted to know what the hell was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Darcy was so invested in what was going on. Like as a viewer, she was so cute.
Right?
Didn't Darcy explain like how they're able to get that kind of reception from them? Was that because the hex that Wanda created gave off these like certain I forget what they call it, but it's actually true. It's the kind of energy or radiation that came off of during the Big Bang. That's why they were able to broadcast it in those old TV sets.
I have no idea why that would be picked up by a TV, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
So,
no complaints at all.
It's MCU
None
science,
whatsoever.
mhm.
guys. It's Darcy too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so by this point of the show, we're kind of aware that something's going on. We kind of get the idea that Wanda is more or less in control of everything that's happening inside the town, but we don't know why. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if somebody is controlling her. We don't know if she's being forced to do this. We don't know if she did this on purpose. And is there a bigger bad guy working behind the scenes?
Maybe.
Hmm.
Which leads me to probably the breakout, the breakout performer of this series, Catherine Hahn.
I love Catherine Hahn.
She was the breakout character.
She was the best on Parks and Rec.
She
And
was also one of the
she's
best things about
awesome
this
here.
series.
And she starts off as, your usual nosy little neighbor, chismosa. What's the
That's
hot
true.
gossip in the town? I'm going to be your best friend. You just moved in. Let me help you.
Super
Do you need some sugar? I swear, sitcom people don't lock their doors so their neighbors can
know.
always come in.
Oh, no, they knock once they make the introduction, then
And
they're
they come
perfectly
in.
They
comfortable
just
coming
barge in, like without
Yeah.
even asking.
And then
if
the
it's
audience
like,
goes,
is this a good time?
Oh, did you know that they were filming some of the sequences, but most likely the first couple of episodes of
Yeah, they did.
WandaVision in front of a live studio audience?
I saw that because they
Really?
wanted to get the reactions.
Yeah. Then they started using the canned laughter as they moved towards
That's
the 90s.
so cute.
Oh God,
That's
canned
so
laughter. You know what's creepy about canned laughter? Most of it was recorded in the 30s and 40s, so most of those people are dead. No, all of those people are dead.
That's freaky.
Oh,
You just burst my bubble.
Shit, that's creepy.
That's fucking
kind of
creepy.
is. Kind of
Yeah.
is.
So yeah,
But
going back
yes,
to
Catherine Hahn as
Catherine Hahn.
their neighbor
Agnes.
Agnes. She was great. No matter what, from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, she was the perfect nosy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Even when everything was going crazy and all that, she always had an appropriate reaction.
She was pretty
Like
funny.
drinking
especially-
while babysitting the babies.
Who
Yep.
wouldn't?
I like that.
True. I can say this from experience.
Hope your mother doesn't hear that.
No, I was kidding. I was totally kidding.
But yes, Catherine Hahn is amazing, honestly. And it just adds another notch on Marvel's belt. As far as casting goes, I honestly don't think they've screwed up
Nope.
in a big way quite yet.
Yeah,
But Anjo has a thought.
No, apparently, one of the characters they cast for this upset a lot of people because of the casting.
Oh God! Well, we're already on episode 5 and 6. Go for it.
Wait, who are
Okay,
we
in episode 5 or 6, they was it episode 5 when they actually revealed Pietro to be
Yes,
recast
they did.
All right.
as the Foxy to be recast. So
And
originally they cast what's Kick-Ass? What's his
Aaron
name?
Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor
Right.
Johnson to play Pietro in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Made his first appearance at the end of what? Was it
5 or 6, probably. I don't know.
He made his
yeah.
first appearance in none of these episodes.
Civil War? Civil War.
No, it
Yeah,
was.
he made his first appearance at the.
Oh,
sorry.
you're talking about Aaron Taylor. I thought
He
Yeah,
did
Aaron-
say Aaron
this-
Taylor Johnson.
No.
Yes.
I thought like
So in-
which episode in WandaVision.
No. So and then in WandaVision, the
Wait,
Pietro
finish your
that they-
thought.
Sorry. Okay, going back. Okay, they cast Aaron Taylor Johnson as the original Pietro in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Mhm.
But then for episode 5 of WandaVision, they had this last minute reveal in episode 5 that Pietro was recast as Evan Peters. Evan Peters, as we all know, was cast as the Pietro or Quicksilver of the Fox X-Men movies.
Which was like a whole nother universe.
So
A whole other universe, whole other age group of Pietro as a character in the whole
That's right.
grand scheme of things. And I love how Darcy was so meta about this. While
Yeah,
watching
I was
the show, she was literally, they
Why
recast Pietro?
Yes, they
Yep.
did.
like,
They
what?
literally did.
Okay,
She was so
okay.
meta.
I'm pretty sure we're all fans of Marvel now. Like, what was your initial reaction when you saw that face?
Damn it! Aaron Taylor Johnson was hotter.
Priorities.
I could
my
not
God.
take Aaron Taylor Johnson seriously with his Pietro hair and his Sokovian accent. I'm sorry.
I
And
don't know.
his buff
I mean, like,
bod.
No,
And
but
it was
then-
just
super
weird
buff
because,
bod.
why? At what point did superhero attire just become Under Armour?
well,
Complaining.
they didn't have superhero attire at that time. Remember?
Fine. But for me, it was also weird because, like, basically the same year as Age of Ultron, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, they were not siblings. They were man and wife in Godzilla.
Yes, that was
And
weird.
that was just weird. That was so weird.
That was weird. Weren't you
Fucking
like
weird.
brother? Weren't you twins in the movie? Like, that was
Yeah,
no,
that's
but
another kind of movie. But
That's-
Yeah,
Ugh.
I'm not watching that.
That's not a movie, that's a website.
But what?
That.
What are you talking about?
What are
Moving
you?
on.
What website do you
on.
visit?
La 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 la.
You don't know
This
what
is
I'm
a
talking
family show.
One division.
about. Okay, so
Anyway.
yeah, everybody was like, they started it off like with a back shot with the guy with
Mhm.
gray hair, and it's Pietro. It's like,
Mhm.
but then you see the face, it's like,
Holy hell, you're the guy from the other movies.
No. So
which
I
was a
don't know.
perfect segue to Kat Dennings dropping that joke, and nobody
No, but-
else could have pulled it off but Kat Dennings as Darcy.
I swear, when I saw Evan Peters' face, my jaw dropped. I was like, "What?"
Same here.
I was like, "What is happening?"
I couldn't believe that they actually did it. I was like, are they finally gonna acknowledge that those X-Men movies happened? Like, even if they said it was a different universe, I would have accepted it because at least enough knowledge nila.
Sorry,
Yeah,
They played it so coy. They refused to commit, and we had to wait week after agonizing week to find out what was happening,
Yep.
which added to the fun, to be honest.
Same
Can I
here.
just
Same here.
say, last thirsty comment of mine about
I
Pietro.
don't believe it'll be the last, but okay.
Last thirsty comment. I literally was Darcy in the next episode when they were talking about it in the real world, like, oh, who's this guy? It's like Pietro with another face. Darcy said it so in such a pouty way, and it's like, yes, that is me. I am disappointed with his face as well.
But, come on, Evan Peters is a great actor. I mean, I love him in American Horror Story.
Yes,
though.
he is, but he's not Aaron Taylor Johnson.
And it's kind
Fine,
of funny
okay.
because like Aaron Taylor Johnson and Evan Peters were actually on screen together in Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass.
Yep.
And that's the only reason that Wanda actually says the words kick-ass in dialogue.
And you know what? You know what else is kind of cool that they were both in Kick-Ass. They also both played comic book nerds in that movie.
That's true. And now they are actually, well, they're the same superhero, but whatever.
Well, wasn't the character of Evan Peters like the one that was recast this ass kick or something in the sequel? So essentially, they're the same character in that movie too.
That was fun. I wish they'd stopped at one though with Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
But let's get back to WandaVision.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Pietro was recast, which took us into the next episode, which now took place in the very late 90s. I'm kind of sad that they skipped out the main bulk of the 90s, but all was forgiven when I saw that they opened with basically the Malcolm in the Middle intro for the next episode.
I remember watching
awesome.
that show. Yes.
And I like na tanggap na nila that Pietro is Pietro because, they included him in the opening credits.
No, but you know what's interesting about that quote-unquote recast of Pietro is that it could have been another homage to how sitcoms would constantly recast a certain character, like with Friends. Like, they recast the sister of... Wait, hold on. Who did they recast? I'm pretty sure they recast a couple of characters in Friends. Like Ross's ex-wife, Carol. They recast her.
Oh, right. Yes.
I think that's a trend that happens in sitcoms where they recast certain characters with different actors.
Because they figure, you're not... Well, for the longest time, because sitcoms really were just once a week and chances are you were never going to watch them again.
Yep.
So continuity wasn't as important, I guess. So you could recast minor characters without people noticing. But in this case, damn, that's a big character. As far as Wanda is concerned. So anybody who'd seen Age of Ultron, MJ remembers what Aaron Taylor Johnson looked like.
You did not see that coming now, did you?
Oh God, that accent, I swear. Can I just say, it's also fun how they keep calling out that Wanda's Sokovian accent keeps coming and going.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I've been complaining about that for the longest time. And in an interview, Elizabeth Olsen said, no, it's because, you live in America for a while. You like any immigrant, you get the accent. I'm like, you were in America for like 10 minutes before you lost the accent.
But if you watch the series,
she has powers. It's fine.
If you watch the series though, like the accent subtly comes back after episode 7.
I think in the show they tried to make it that it comes back whenever she's upset.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it came back.
It just reverts to her natural accent when you're not trying to change it.
Yeah,
when you're most genuine, I guess.
That makes sense.
Leave me alone. Still a bad accent.
You sound like Shaggy.
And
not the Scooby-Doo Shaggy.
It wasn't me. Only told me that she got me red-handed. Be me and the girl next door. Picture this, we were both caught naked. I'm not gonna finish the song.
Yep. Moving on.
Okay, moving on.
WandaVision. The next episode, of course, was a riff on Modern Family. That was fun.
Yes, I love that with the TV with the interviews and talking, like breaking the fourth wall and everything, just like Modern Family.
The mockumentary type thing.
Love that.
And I love that the intro was basically the theme of The Office spliced with the opening of Happy Endings.
Yes.
And I was like, I know what they're doing. Seriously, if you play the Office theme in your head while you're watching that intro, it aligns perfectly.
Because the first sitcom was obviously the Dick Van Dyke Show. The second one was Bewitched. Then it became the Brady Bunch. Tapos
the next one was Family Ties.
Family Ties.
The 80s.
There you go for the 80s. Yeah.
And then Malcolm in the Middle.
I've not seen a lot of these.
I'm sorry, I just watched way too much TV.
Or inabutan niya while they were airing on TV.
I did not. Gago.
Wala akong sinabi. Sinabi ko lang, baka naabutan may Family Ties.
I'm not talking to you.
I only reached Modern Family.
Sure.
Tsaka Malcolm in the Middle.
Okay. So this is the episode now where we reveal the big bad of the show.
We'll talk about more about the big bad later, or who the real big bad is later, because that's apparently a debate right now.
It is? Okay, fine. In that case, let's go with, in this episode, they reveal the breakout character of the show. Our favorite nosy neighbor, Agnes, is actually hiding a secret.
Her name was...
want.
Agatha Harkness.
Damn it, I thought you were going to do the song.
It was Agatha all along. There you go. That's the song.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Sure, whatever.
That's the song.
Can I just say Catherine Hahn is shocked, absolutely shocked that her theme song rocketed to the top of the iTunes charts.
It is?
It did.
Wow.
I actually
It's
like
a fun
the song.
bop. It's a fun little bop.
It is.
It was.
Wow, it's available
And she
on
sang it.
iTunes.
She sang it. I did not know that.
She sang it. That's what makes it even awesomer. You know, if you're a Disney bad guy, and they're all Disney bad guys now, you know you've made it if you're singing your own theme song.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Puts you up there with Ursula and Scar.
You're right.
Yeah. So I just remembered when Catherine Hahn was on Jimmy Fallon's show and she started singing a Lizzo song. That was pretty cool too.
Catherine Hahn is amazing. She can do anything.
Yes, and it was convincing that she was a bad guy, because you're so used to seeing her in comedies and being all happy and bubbly and charming. But when she went on villain mode, it was actually scary. I was kind of frightened by the duality of her character. It's like, she's good. She's real good.
With the duality of now that you mentioned the duality of the character of Agatha Harkness, let's talk about what she was doing in episode 8. Was it episode 8?
Which one?
When
the one
she
where
starts
we find out her
revealing
backstory?
Where we find out what she's been. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So then we find out that she was a witch during the Salem witch trials, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So apparently she's this power hungry witch who was out for, absorbing what? What's why is Misha laughing?
Steak.
No, nothing.
I like steak. I'm sorry.
It's food. Ignore him.
Move on.
Now I'm hungry.
You're always hungry. You're always hungry.
Wait, now I lost my train of thought.
Salem witch trials.
So she was a witch.
You can.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking of steak.
Power hungry, absorbing.
Now I'm thinking of steak.
We're helping you get back on track. She absorbs powers.
Right idea, wrong
That's
steak.
where you were.
She likes where she just wants to gain more power by absorbing powers of other magicians or sorceresses or witches and others.
I think they were pretty much all witches.
Oh yeah, I don't know what other magical entities she's absorbed or whatever.
Through the years, probably more.
Oh yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's implied even that she knows the Sorcerer Supreme. So yeah, this could go a lot of different ways. But in that episode where we find out her backstory, I think that was something that was interesting, was that she was trying to pretend to be something that she was not. She was trying to tell her coven that she had no idea that she tapped into these mysterious forbidden powers, only in the next couple of minutes to show that, she knew exactly what she was doing when she was sucking all their powers out of their bodies, including that of her mother.
No, but I like that, I like that performance when her face just changes from somebody who's trying or who seems like she's pleading for her life to all of a sudden have this very sinister smile. Like, oh, I'm caught. I can't hide this anymore, but I can still deal with this shit.
Absolutely.
The range.
And it fit right in with her having pretended this entire time to be under Wanda's control, because she knew exactly what she was doing. She was acting of her own free will. And now we finally find out what she was up to. And it was a pretty cool reveal. But I think the more heavy emotional lifting of episode 8 went to Wanda. Because this is the one where we went through all of her backstory. Even down to the story that Pietro Quicksilver told in Age of Ultron about he and his sister were in Sokovia with their family, and their parents were killed by a Stark bomb, and another bomb landed right next to them, didn't explode, and they spent the next 3 days wondering when Tony Stark was going to kill them. And now we actually got to see it how many years later.
Yeah, such a tragic character, Wanda. And Elizabeth Olsen just captures that tragedy and pain perfectly. It's like you feel it, and you literally feel her pain, and you're not even under that mind control thing that she does with the whole town, but you feel it. It's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for you. This is why you're so fucked up.
I did not expect that this show, this show wasn't even supposed to be the first the first part of Phase 4 of Phase 4 of the MCU. It was
They were
supposed
supposed
to
to
be
open.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think.
Yes.
But or Black Widow. Black Widow was supposed to come first, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? But this one came out first because of COVID and everything. And it's not just another superhero show. The sitcom format threw a lot of people off. But by the time you get to episode 8,
God,
you realize this whole thing is a treatise on dealing with grief, and it's the absolute worst possible version of that. In the superhero context, because as far as Wanda's concerned, the people that she loved most in the world, Pietro and Vision, only died very recently. As far as she's concerned, she was gone for 5 years. She hasn't had time to process Vision dying at the hands of Thanos in Infinity War. And the fact that we actually are invested in the emotional state of superheroes just tells you how well this series was put together.
It's just so heartbreaking. You just
I think it was such a great character study for Wanda. It gives you so much depth. It gives the character so much depth that we see all her traumas, all her tragedies, that basically she lost everybody she cares about.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how, I guess, it's another way of analyzing what grief is for somebody who has that much who has that much power,
right?
Like what they would do. So
even to the point of like bringing back, Hydra henchmen just to run the machines that show us how her powers got augmented, because apparently she had them the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that dedication to detail, it's just wow.
And everything just ties together. By episode 8, you know why it's in this sitcom format, because you do see in Wanda's backstory that's her happy place. That's watching TV with her family was their favorite pastime, their favorite bonding time. This was when she remembers most fondly that they're all together, even if they were struggling in life.
Mm-hmm.
This is their happy place, in front of the TV, watching all these funny shows. But you realize that when you put it into the context of Wanda creating this world, this is her happy place. This is what she imagines is the ideal world, because she has Vision there. He's alive. They're married. They have children. Her brother comes back. And then it's just so much sadder that this is not her reality. This is just what she wants deep down inside. And it's something she can never really get in reality, but she's compensating for it with her powers. And it's so tragic. And you have to give that up eventually. It's a huge sacrifice. And you really feel her pain and really parting with this ideal world. She has to. And she admits that she's wrong.
I need to ask though, which brings us to the final act of the episode, where they show us what happened immediately before WandaVision. And this is the point where we realize that she tried to claim Vision's body from the government, to give him a proper burial. But the douchebag who runs SWORD, the government agency in charge, was more interested in building more weapons like Vision than giving him any kind of a decent memorial.
Burial.
And when Wanda fails to retrieve Vision's body, she goes to New Jersey, which would be bad enough because you have to go to New Jersey. But
whoa!
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Whoa!
She had to go to New Jersey. She was sad already that she went to Jersey. That's not going to make anybody happy. So going to New Jersey made it worse, and she ends up like she ends up like in this rundown little suburban town. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You're getting to your point.
You're gonna defend New Jersey. No, I want to hear it.
No, I wasn't, because I was gonna say something, but I realized that you were leading towards that particular reveal of why Westville was so important.
Right. So she goes to New Jersey, which is like, not good for anyone's mental health.
Wow.
And
whoa. Well, they lost their basketball team.
What?
They still have a hockey team, though.
Basketball, geez.
They still have a hockey team, though.
She ends up in Westview, which is where most of the series takes place, and she drives straight to this empty lot where it turns out and it's revealed that this empty lot was actually purchased by Vision before he died, and this is where their home was going to be. And she just loses it.
I think that was her breaking point.
She just loses it, and that is what traumatizes her to the point where she can essentially create this sitcom world around her to try and cope. So now I need to ask the two of you, how much did you two cry?
Come on. Is that even a question for me? I obviously cried buckets.
I shed a single tear. Like,
wow.
The slow
wow,
tear.
You're so stoic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was bawling.
But that was probably the most emotional moment of the show.
That was impressive. If
Elizabeth Olsen, my God.
If you need to submit a reel for Elizabeth Olsen to get nominated for next year's award shows, please just give them this episode, honestly. Because she has to do everything in this one. You see how her love story with Vision starts, which I still have issues with. But
okay, I want to get to that issue.
You know what he's being referred to now as, right?
What is he being referred to as?
He's being referred to as Wanda's favorite vibrator.
Oh God!
Oi! We are not gonna kink shame. If she wants to hang out with a 6 foot tall sex toy, that's her call.
That's her call. I'm just telling you what
it looked consensual. Well, I don't know how consensual. He's a robot and all. He'll probably say whatever he needs to.
He had a soul. I mean, like the mind.
Yeah, he had a soul.
So it was consensual, Misha. Yes, Misha. It was consensual.
No, but anyway. Okay, look. Their love story started right after Pietro died. So, like, I know you're grieving, but really, what would it take for you to jump the bones of your robot housemate?
Remember that flashback when they were talking about what humanity is, what emotions were? I think it was that connection, that line that...
No, I'm not going to deny that. That was a great line, that what is grief if not love persevering? And also all the amazing memes that came from it. But...
like, what is... What
but
is...
at the end of the day, he's a robot.
No, but it's interesting that she found a connection, like, just because he's a robot doesn't mean that he doesn't have a soul.
Did she find a connection because he was being genuinely empathetic, or because she was just so lonely she'd take the first person that walked through her wall?
No, I genuinely understand. I genuinely feel like they have a connection. Even if his body is a robot, I still like to believe he sort of has a soul and a mind and everything. That's not a physical body. Would you say that if he
wasn't Paul Bettany?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Although Paul Bettany I feel like he's so irreplaceable. I'm not sure, but he was amazing. Well, yeah, at this point, he is irreplaceable.
He's excellent in this series, honestly.
He is. You could, like, even with this whole robot makeup prosthetics, you can still see the acting underneath, and it's amazing.
Yep. No, but I like also how he was hamming up his sequences in the sitcom episodes.
Yeah, he was totally a goofy sitcom husband.
I know.
Yep. Especially the first two episodes, that was so special to watch him doing that.
Where he was just this clueless office worker.
Yep, he was clearly having fun with that role.
I also really love how when shit was hitting the fan and Vision was realizing that, hold on, there's something wrong. The confusion, the alarm in his face, in his character, like him like wanting to, like, what the fuck is going on? And he's trying to figure it out. And the pain you can also feel, like when they were arguing, when he finally confronted Wanda, it's like, what are you doing? You're hurting people. And when they started arguing, you could feel his disappointment, his I don't know if he essentially maybe loses a little trust at that point. You could see it all in his face. And like when he gets like kind of angry or angry, it was like, it was chilling because you're so used to Vision being so, relaxed.
Yeah.
Very, very diplomatic, very calm.
Yeah, very logical.
Yes, very logical.
And very
but
understanding, honestly.
Yeah, you see his range of emotions here, which really tells you that there is a human there somewhere underneath that robot body because of all the feelings that you see him go through.
He's still a robot. But yeah, okay, fine. He's a nice robot.
not like Ultron.
Nobody would get with Ultron. What is wrong with you?
Ew, no.
I'm just saying, because he said nice robot, but then Ultron's not a nice robot. So I just said, like, unlike Ultron.
Fair
Ano ba?
enough. Okay, by the end of our walk down memory lane, Agatha reveals her true colors. She goes full drag queen, brings Wanda outside. Look at her. Come on. Her makeup changes. She dresses up. Her hair gets bigger. She goes full drag queen. Her eyebrows are amazing.
A fabulous drag queen, though.
No, but
So she goes full drag queen to reveal that Wanda is not just a regular mutant. She's not just a victim of the Mind Stone. She is, and in actuality, something that witches have feared for centuries. She is the Scarlet Witch.
oh wait, you forgot that one line that matters most. That she is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme.
That happens in the next episode, but okay.
That does happen in the next episode. My bad. I am so sorry about that.
But I also love how she also explained that the Scarlet Witch isn't born, she's created.
Yeah.
So you kind of understand that, like, oh, yes, of course it's Wanda. Have you seen all the shit she's been through? Who would not?
I gotta say, though, for me, I love that they tapped into the fact and they trying to give the Scarlet Witch name a mythology on the MCU, because even that's something that happened only fairly recently in the comic books. For years and years, she was just the Scarlet Witch because she had hex powers and she dressed in red. So Scarlet Witch, cool, whatever. But on the show, I didn't like that how they basically called it out just by having Agatha do a name drop at the very end of the episode, because it just didn't feel organic. I mean, I know they were building up to it, but I think it could have been handled a little bit better. Calling her Scarlet Witch for the sake of calling her Scarlet Witch felt more like a shout out and fan service than actual storytelling the way they did it.
Well
it
I
clearly was.
I totally ate it up.
Same here.
Call me a sucker, but I was like, oh yeah. But yeah, that's just me. Probably a sucker.
The day of the episode, me and were messaging about it. I was like, oh my god, they gave her a name. They named her.
Oh well.
We're suckers, Anjo.
I don't think you're suckers. It just it's like, it's always weird when somebody says the name of the movie in dialogue. It'd be like if Mel Gibson ran into combat shouting Braveheart. It would be weird, Or like Bruce Willis, you gotta save us from Armageddon. It sounds weird.
I thought you were saying
like, the Fellowship, you are
the
Lord of the Rings.
It's weird, if you don't do it right, it sticks out like a sore thumb. And for me, that one did.
I think to my point, I think it's more of a preference thing at this point. Because clearly to MJ and I,
we were like, oh boy.
Wait it up. But I don't know, like it felt somehow a little bit organic, but I knew what it was. I knew that it was fan service because she was never really acknowledged as or called as the Scarlet Witch. She never had a code name, or an alias the entire time.
The sword guy even made a point of calling out that she didn't have a fancy nickname a couple of episodes prior.
Oh, the asshole! The asshole!
The asshole! Yeah, we'll get to that guy. In fact, you know what? Let's get to that guy because now we're on the finale. Okay, so now we're at the end, and this is where everything basically explodes and goes pear-shaped. We know where Wanda's coming from. We know what Agatha wants. Agatha wants the powers of the Scarlet Witch. The sword guy just wants Vision to make more visions. He also wants to kill Wanda for getting in his way, for making a fool of him. Darcy,
she's too dangerous. No.
Oh wait, we forget one of the most important reveals in the in episode 8 is that we find out that there was actually a white Vision.
Right, white.
Right, yeah, because they reveal that Wanda never stole Vision's body.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Vision's body was still with Sword, and they brought him back online as White Vision. And it turns out the Vision inside the dome this whole time was just something that Wanda created from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So those are that's a pretty big reveal.
Whoa.
Dun, 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 dun. And then we go on to episode 9, the finale.
Okay, let's get back to the asshole sword guy.
ching 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 sword. Sorry,
Yes, Misha, you were
you were saying about
I
asshole sword
lost
dude.
it. I don't even know anymore. Where did I
Oh,
stop?
we should have went to like White Vision later na lang because we were already there. But
Oh,
anyway,
anyway, where everything goes
Yeah,
pear
you-
shaped.
yeah, and you're like, he wants to kill Wanda.
Right. Okay, fine. Yeah. This is where everything goes pear shaped. We find out why Wanda created this town. We find out that we know that Agatha wants her powers, and douchebag sword guy just wants to make more visions, including that white vision that he had back at HQ. That apparently Wanda didn't steal his body. The Wanda, the vision inside the Pleasantville was essentially born out of Wanda's grief. So this is where everything starts to come together, and Monica Rambeau shows off that maybe there's more to her now, that her DNA has been scrambled so many times from going in and out of Pleasantville.
Oh yeah.
What did you guys think of the finale? Because this thing was huge. There was so much happening.
It was amazeballs, to say the
Yeah.
least.
I don't know.
It was-
I don't
I mean,
even
like-
know where to start.
This is the first one of the few shows where my jaw was hanging the whole time I was watching it. I was like, ah.
Okay. On one hand, we have Wanda and Agatha beating the shit out of each other with energy balls. On the other hand, it's
Which
Monica
power?
Yep. On the other hand, it's Monica Rambeau teaming up with also the Wanda's imaginary twin boys fighting sword people and all the other entities that come in their way. There's Monica Rambeau there too. And can we go, since we are at the finale, can we go to that trolling Pietro moment?
Yes.
That where you realize, oh yeah, this is not Pietro
Yeah.
at all.
Because by that point, I think it had been a month of everybody just trying to guess, how are the X-Men going to tie into this? Is Professor X going to show up? Is Wolverine going to show up? Is Magneto going to show up? You know what? Nobody showed up. And that's okay.
No, wait.
We totally got trolled there because at the end of it, there's a reveal that, okay, evil Pietro under control. Pietro from Agatha's powers is like holding Monica Rambeau hostage. They get into it, bam, bam, pow, pow. And later on, it's revealed that it's not actually Pietro, but this random guy under Agatha's control with this magical necklace.
He's
And
not the
The
he's
most
not-
amazing name.
He's not quite so
Boner.
random.
Boner.
Ralph Boner.
Ralph
His name
Boner.
is, Bohner, but Boner nonetheless.
No, but okay, fine. You know what? Do you know what? What's interesting is that the director of the series, Matthew. Hold on, I'm pulling up his name. Matt
Greg
Shackman.
Googler? Joke lang.
No, Matt Shackman was actually in one of those sitcoms they were referencing to, and there was a character in that sitcom named Bones, and his nickname was, guess what? Boner. So it was also a tribute to that character in that sitcom.
I didn't know that.
Mm.
But yeah, we were totally trolled there. There is no X-Men crossover.
No,
Yeah.
there
They
isn't.
just literally cast the right person to fuck with us.
And
Yes,
Doctor
like what
Strange
love
is
it.
nowhere to be found.
Like
Yep.
what Misha said, and that's okay. That's
It's okay.
totally fine.
I loved it. I love that I
same
got
here.
trolled. I love that I got trolled.
I
there.
love the fact that it was essentially Marvel's way of flipping off the toxic fanboys by saying you can take your fan theories, you can take all these whatever you want to happen and shove it up your ass because we're doing it our way.
Yes.
And the thing is, the show didn't owe anybody an amazing cameo. It didn't owe anybody 8 million connections to the future movies. There are some people who were saying that, because we were trained to look for future connections in Marvel
Ugh,
stories.
No, you trained yourselves to do that.
Exactly. You can't blame a show for not delivering on something that you set up for yourself in your own head.
Exactly. Entitled.
What he said earlier, this show was never going to be the launch of the multiverse, the Marvel multiverse.
Yeah.
It was always going to be a treatise on grief and how we overcome it. We didn't know that going in, but when we finally saw what it was all about, I think that they delivered a pretty good finale. Delivering,
It was.
they paid off all their plot threads. They showed us exactly, what could plausibly happen if Wanda went all Pleasantville.
Oh, Cuckoo Bananas Pleasantville.
I didn't know if there's a nice way to say it, so I just wanted Pleasantville.
I mean, setup or not, this show just worked as what you mentioned earlier as like some sort of a thesis for grief. Another thing that it was made for, or what it could function as, is another, like as I mentioned earlier, or repetitively, is like a character study for Wanda Maximoff, right? How somebody with that power level handles huge losses or big traumas in her life.
And character development, and ultimately how powerful she can be.
Incredible
for the
character
future.
development. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
And can we get to her costume? Can we get to her uniform? Can we
Go
get to
for
her
it.
transformation? She looks so
Wait. Before we
Ayun,
get to
sabi
that,
ko
before we get to that,
Na-reveal ko na eh.
Oh,
kasi-
hey, why do you keep doing that? Just say it.
Taas na na-interview ko eh.
ang dami lang talagang fan service. Like, even when her fight with Agatha, she even pulled that stunt she did with Tony Stark when she first came out in Age of Ultron, where she sneaks up behind Agatha to just fast
You
forward
mean
walk
she
her.
used the powers that everybody forgot that she had since 2015?
Yep, exactly that. And then the fact that she pulled a Tony Stark, using her opponent's moves on her opponent. Like, remember that rune scene where only the witch to set up the runes in a given space can use their powers? She did the exact same setup to Agatha Harkness.
Tony Stark used runes?
Not runes, but, essentially doing the snap to Thanos. Like, you can't, denying Thanos the snap. Because he saw Thanos do that.
I just liked her tossing a car at Agatha the way she did in Civil War.
Yeah, that was another Easter egg.
For the Wicked Witch of the West gag. But yeah,
Yep.
it was fun.
Can I get back to my excitement on her costume?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Which was interrupted.
I know. Stop doing
It
that.
was
Do it.
already up there. Her costume, her final look as Scarlet Witch is amazing.
It
Beautiful.
is. It really
beautiful, beautiful. It's not cheesy. It's not cliche. It's not that
cleavage.
No,
Yes.
no cleavage.
No
and it's-
cleavage.
And I also love how they kind of like pull the gag on like her and Vision wearing their old school comic style costumes
Yes.
in one
Yeah,
of the
Malcolm in
earlier
the Middle
episodes. But this final look was just so badass. I love the halter top, her flowing red hair, and the whole headdress thing, and her
Now,
eyes.
I like the fact that what made this costume reveal more special was that Elizabeth Olsen came into interviews before saying that she will never wear the costume that Scarlet Witch is wearing in the comic, or like
Still not.
She never signed off onto wearing like a comic book, because I assumed like she was referring to not only the bustier but the crown, because it kind of looked, honestly, the costume looks tacky in the comic book. And then knowing how the costume designers at Marvel did it, like it looks really amazing. Even the details. If you look at the crown, it has certain rune symbols on it, and even the belt somewhere there are certain rune symbols on it. Like there's just so much detail.
You mean just runes?
runes? Period.
So badass, so beautiful. and
Can I just say, like,
full on final form Wanda? Yes.
while
I'm
we're
buying
on the,
the
whole
toy.
costume thing, while we're on the costume thing, I love that she had perhaps the most comfortable superhero outfit for all of her fights in this movie, in this episode, because she was
yeah.
literally just in
She was in her
jogging
sweats.
pants and a hoodie.
And a hoodie. A hoodie
So-
that looks so familiar to UP students.
I think this was like the producer's apology for all those years of shitty cleavage outfits. So
Yeah.
yes, you can dress up in sweats, and that's how you're gonna have your big fight in this episode.
Fuck yeah, it's comfortable.
So I
And
guess
fuck
that's
yeah,
the producer
I'm a
saying
mom.
sorry. You are,
I'm a mom taking care of two twin boys.
who may or may not be real.
Yes, but I can wear whatever the
Misha.
fuck I want.
Misha,
Yeah.
aminin mo, the minute you saw the costume, the instant thought was like, I have to get that action figure for my collection.
Damn straight.
Because I said that out loud, and my wife was like, "Oh no, where are you gonna put it?"
You'll figure it out. I'm sure you will. Okay. Can we talk about the ending? Can we talk about just the ending?
Okay, let's end with the ending, the very painful
Let's
ending.
talk about the ending. Because the ending has a lot of people, again, polarized, quote unquote. But I think that for what they were trying to achieve and what the story they were trying to tell, I think that they did it very, very well. And it was goddamn heartbreaking.
So
I mean, like,
painful.
okay, here's the debate between who the real. This is where the debate starts. Like, if who the real villain was it really Agatha or was it really Wanda? Because Wanda put these people in this pretend world of hers, and dami pa siya ng iba, or was it really Agatha who just wanted to siphon Wanda's powers? Parang Agatha even brings it up. Now, Agatha even brings it up when she starts releasing all these people from Wanda's control, like saying like superheroes don't do that. Super people don't take normal people or regular people away from their normal lives and then puts them in their pretend world so they can play their bit roles in her perfect little world. And Wanda acknowledges that. She tries to control them at some point and then eventually realizes that superheroes do not do that and releases them. And then eventually, as we work our way towards the end, we realize Wanda decides to make the ultimate sacrifice of just, accepting that everything that she loves is not real, or everything that she loves is in her head.
Essentially, I feel like the goal of this wasn't to paint her as a hero. It was to show that she's human. She has trauma. Agreed. She has pain. She has flaws. She has lapses in judgment. So that really shines through in this entire story with how, yes, it starts out like she just wants something for herself. She wants happiness. She wants her happy ending. But she does realize that, I'm hurting people in between. So that's where the character development steps in. And she does eventually release them. She owns up to her mistakes and tries to fix them. So I would say that Wanda's not a hero, but she's human. And we just all ended up understanding her and loving her for it.
And I like that because it was episodic in nature, they had more time to play with the development so that we really see what's going on in her head. We see what she was giving up by deciding to do the right thing. And it was heartbreaking.
I saw one of those memes because the line Wanda said after or before she made the ultimate sacrifice, where she was saying her last goodbyes, was she thanked the kids for choosing her as her mom. And then it said that because Tommy could read minds and he smiled, he chose not to react and just smiled back at Wanda. So he knew fully what was going to happen in the next couple of minutes when Wanda said goodnight.
No, I think they all knew when they put them to bed. Because look, there is no way on heaven or earth that she could have thought that those boys were real the second that she realized she made this whole town. Or at least there's no way they could have been her kids. Because again, her 6-foot vibrator was not going to impregnate her.
Jesus.
I don't care how empathic he is. He's not going to bear her children.
Okay, go on.
So
you were getting to something so good.
So you had a choice. Okay, she had a choice. It's either I made up these kids or there's somebody else's kids that I just recast. Either way, it was awful. It was heartbreaking. We never actually saw whether or not they actually were somebody else's kids, but the way that they did their final goodbyes was beautiful, honestly. And Bald Bettany as Vision, bringing his dignity to everything, just was the icing on the cake in those final sequences, especially when he and Wanda have their final goodbye.
What was Wanda's line that was so painful? Is that Vision is the part of the Mind Stone that lives inside of her. So she acknowledges that he will live as a memory. I
want to do a dramatic reading. So I'm looking up the actual line.
Let's do it.
We gotta say the line right. Because it's such a good line. Oh, one thing I really appreciate about this too is the script. A+. You've got that quotable, what is grief but love persevering, and we have this final line. Okay, that's really hard to Google, so never mind.
So many good lines in this.
It's like, you are my... I just love it how she ended it with, you are my love. Okay, fine, I'll Google it. Okay.
I like that, yung sinabi, yung parang the lines that Wanda said, the line that Wanda said when she saw Vision's dead body actually called back to Infinity War when you first see them while they're hiding. Na parang she said, she touched Vision's face. Na parang she said, I feel you. And then the line that she said when she was touching Vision's dead body is, I can't feel you anymore. Oh, that was so painful. Ang sakit talaga nun. It's like, oh. So I like talaga how it ties into everything.
Here goes. You, Vision, are the piece of the Mind Stone that lives in me. You are a body of wires and blood and bone that I created. You are my sadness and my hope. But mostly, you're my love.
Damn, that's a good line.
Jeez.
The dialogue in this thing was excellent. Honestly,
I think we all need a moment to recuperate from that. So just remember.
And I did not do justice to Elizabeth Olsen, but if you hear it from her at the heat of that moment, at the ending, at the goodbye, oh my God, it's so painful.
The delivery and plus the visual of her just staring into his face while saying that. Boom, boom, boom.
Good stuff. It really was.
That was really good. That was a great ending for that storyline.
And that was a great show. I mean, everything, when you look at it as a whole, as a complete work, wow. Just wow. I did not expect that. And I truly feel sorry for the fact that Falcon and Winter Soldier has to come after this because I don't know how they're going to top it.
Big shoes to fill.
Well, you can blame COVID for that because they were supposed to go first.
Yeah, but how are Captain America's ex-boyfriends gonna top this?
I don't know. But you're not supposed to treat it the same way because it's obviously gonna be a buddy cop thing compared to this, this very in-depth character study.
Yeah, but it's coming 2 weeks after this, so it's like, you can't help it. There's
whatever. It's the MCU. I trust the MCU. I trust Marvel.
So do I. They earned that,
They earn, yeah. I mean, like only few Marvel movies I can complain about are Iron Man 3, the second Thor movie, Captain Marvel, and
I like Iron Man 3 over Iron Man 2.
I mean, nah. I'm sorry, no.
Iron Man 2 was just trying to set up the Avengers. It was painful.
Well, yeah.
But
anyway, going by Captain Marvel.
Something that I appreciate about now that you mentioned all the other MCU movies that I liked about this, because they've been around for so long, they can do something that comics have been doing for years. They can add little touches and retcons that make the shitty entries bearable. Like how Endgame, with all their time travel stuff, it redeemed Thor: The Dark World, which is really not a great sequel. But by adding in the bits with Thor's mom, they gave that movie emotional resonance that it didn't have when it came out. In the same way, this show made Age of Ultron relevant when back in the day, it was something fun that you just forgot about when you were done.
Yeah,
it was a rehash of the first Avengers movie, basically.
It does actually make me want to go back to Age of Ultron.
Right?
I actually watched Age of Ultron again after watching
there you
after
go.
watching WandaVision.
It's like, because this one was so good, it justified the existence of what came before, even if it wasn't that good when it came out.
I'm sorry, Endgame did not justify Thor: The Dark World to me.
It was worth it because we got to see Thor and his mom, and that was sweet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I appreciate that.
I like that. That was cute.
All
Can't
right.
wait for more Marvel stuff.
All right.
So I guess that's an episode. Pretty long one, but we just loved WandaVision so much, and we hope you did too. We hope you loved this episode as well. Let us know what you think. Maybe we missed something that we can still discuss in our Facebook group, Sub-Auteurs We Like Movies. Thank you to everybody who's been responding to all the threads there, no matter how stupid they may be, like random questions.
Or posting their own
we
stuff.
love your
appreciate
posts.
it. We love it so much. And we'll probably talk more about other things that we've watched and what you suggest. But that's it for WandaVision. We loved it. And there.
One division, one division, one. But that's episode 2's intro.
It doesn't matter. Are you gonna do them all?
No, because that's the only one. Because that's the only one with the actual lyrics.
I'm ending this before Anja sings all the theme songs.
They all have the lyrics. What are you talking about?
Dun, 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 dun,
This has been another episode of Sub-Auteurs. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I'm MJ.
I'm Misha.
And I'm Anjo.
Ray.
Wow, first try. Woo-hoo.
Wow, look at us. We're
Walang
improving.
rewrite.
Because it
Walang-
was Agatha all along.
Yes. I thought I'd have to use the time stone for that.
Wow.
Stuck in my head now.